Carlos is preferred to Jessica Young for this one. And let's take a look at the Jets. A 3-2 win away in Brisbane last weekend means there's also no change to the starting 11. A couple of switches among the subs though. Sheridan Gallagher returns from suspension, while striker Alexis Collins is preferred among the subs, with Bell Rowley and Milan Hammond dropping out of the matchday squad. So two very stable lineups for the teams this evening. Melbourne Victory will be well aware that they have to play that catch-up game against the Western Sydney Wanderers at a date to be determined. So they will have a pretty busy fixture list in their run to the finals. Finals which are looking almost inevitable at this point. It's all about their push for the title. They can go to within 2 points of Melbourne City at the top of the league from an equal number of games played should they win tonight. Newcastle may start the night in 9th on 20 points. They can go to within just 2 points of the Central Coast in 6th on the ladder, albeit this will be their 20th game, and the Mariners are still yet to play this weekend. There's a big smile on Rachel Lowe's face because she loves playing against the Newcastle Jets. More goals against this opponent than any other in her Ninja A-League career. 5 in 12, including 4 in her last 3 meetings against the team from Newcastle. And Emma Dundas will be on a high, scored in the 3-2 win away to Brisbane last weekend, and recalled to the Young Matildas today in Alex Aparkas's first squad for the national under-20 team since taking over that outfit. And expect them to do plenty of battling in midfield as well in tonight's game. There's your officiating crew for tonight, shaking hands and high fives. Molly Godsell handing the to carve out a little piece of history for themselves right here. I mentioned Newcastle's less than spectacular head-to-head record against the Victory, but it was around this time last season, round 21, that they had a thrilling 3-2 win up in Newcastle against the Victory, and a result that helped propel them into the top 6. It's just as tall an order tonight, and that's one of the reasons why Melbourne Victory's captain, Kayla Morrison, marshalling that defence. She loves playing against Newcastle as well, has scored plenty of goals, even from centre-back in her career. 4 in 6 head-to-head appearances against the Jets. And there's her counterpart, Tash Pryor. Of course, called up and capped by the Matildas during the course of this season. We'll be hoping to keep it tight for a Jets defence that certainly hasn't been as stingy as Melbourne Victory. The Victory have conceded just 17 goals this season. Newcastle, by contrast, have conceded 41. So all in readiness to get the round back underway. We did have Western United against Melbourne City some weeks ago as their round 20 match was moved forward, but the rest of round 20 gets going at the home of the Matildas. And Melbourne Victory will say goodbye to this venue after tonight. It's Amy Park, their home ground from here on, and they'll be hoping to leave with another win. That closes the gap to Melbourne City at the top of the league. Claudia Bunge, the Kiwi defender with a long ball, headed away from the centre of defence by Josie Wilson. Now an exchange of headers. Rachel Lowe, an early touch of the ball. And here's the other Kiwi in the team Devon Jackson, one of the scorers away to Brisbane last weekend. Gilnick, currently tied for the lead in the Golden Boots, and is scoring in the very first minute. There's no longer a tie at the top of the Golden Boot. Gilnick breaks through, and victory off to a perfect start at the home of the Matildas. They lead 1-0. Well, Rachel Lowe created a presence, attracted 3 defenders, and that left Gilnick with a clean run at the ball, building ahead of steam. And how about the finish on the most acute of angles? Exactly how she managed to squeeze that past Danielle Krasaniak will have to be unpicked. It's the second time this season that Gilnick has scored in the opening minute here at the home of the Matildas. She did exactly the same thing against Western United earlier in the campaign, and doesn't that set the tone for the night? Newcastle have not even ventured into their own attacking penalty area, and they find themselves behind. Can they get an instant response? Hoban's cross, and the first touch of the game for Courtney Newbon comes with the ball having already gone over the line for a corner kick. Well, are we set for a chaotic night with plenty of goals? Newcastle would love to hit back and get a fresh start in this game, having conceded before even 1 minute was on the clock. Cass Davis to take the corner kick. And Courtney Newbon, who has kept 9 clean sheets this season, knows that if it's number 10, victory will be on the winning team tonight. Laura Pickett standing at right back. Underhit pass, Dundas. Dapolonia kept her feet as Dundas slipped out of the way. And Victoria moving low, a little overhit for Gilnick. Lorena Bauman with the throw in. Pickett's header. Dapolonia knocks the ball over the top. Wilson leads low to the ball. Bauman. Long pass is going to be headed by Bunge over the head of Chidiac. Claudia Chico passing the ball to Jackson. Devon Jackson, Bauman committed to the ball and did well to win it back. And Newcastle are moving. Hoban well, rolled away from Claudia Bunge. And the Jets will have an attacking half throw in. Dundas. Waiting for the right pass to appear. Goes for a run instead. Now slides the ball onto Libby Copus-Brown. Copus-Brown back to Bauman. Lorena Bauman drives a low cross. It catches a deflection. Newbon's hustling and will avoid, or will she avoid conceding a corner? Frustration there. It's a couple of tight line ball decisions. And after comfortably saving and catching the first corner of the night, Courtney Newbon will watch the second corner now be taken from the left side. Davis took the first corner and will take this one as well. In at the near post, volleyed away by Pickett. Bauman, second time ball, Tash Pryor. Lateral pass, which is then booted away by Gilnick. Chico didn't meet the volley. Alex Chidiac at the fall of the ball. Alana Murphy caught in possession. Sophie Hoban closed her down, and now Hoban advancing, and the side-footed shot is held on to by Courtney Newbon. Hoban, who popped up with a double against Perth with her only 2 goals of the season in the same game. Not able to add to her tally there. You can see Newcastle haven't dropped their heads after conceding in the first minute. They're trying to muster up a response here. That ball stayed in. Rachel Lowe waiting for some teammates to help out. Chidiac is one of them. Dapolonia. Gilnick. Late contact from Bauman, and the referee says enough to constitute a foul. Here's another look. The pass is long gone, and yeah, the slide tackle just kept going from Lorena Bauman there and ended up catching the ankle of Emily Gilnick. And it means that Alana Murphy, the recently capped Matilda, will be taking the free kick. Here's Murphy. Low, difficult pass to volley on. Bunge's header is going to run out for a goal kick. Plenty of time being taken over the goal kick. Solid header coming from Morrison. If you're going to attack victory in the air, it's hard to know where to aim. Bunge's already won a handful of headers, and Morrison showing capability. Here's a crossfield ball to Gilnick. One already. Should have been two for Gilnick. And is trying to claim a corner, but the referee disagrees. Goal kick. What a pass from Chidiac. Gilnick controlled it and trying to bend it past Daniel Krasaniak in goal. Put it just wide of the left-hand post, but for a player of Gilnick's proficiency, you might have expected her to hit the target there. A-League Women's goal number 65 now for Gilnick. We saw Tamika Yallop recently overtake Sam Kerr on 70 goals to become the second highest scorer in the competition's history. Gilnick is steadily closing in on that mark as well. Morrison. And a miscontrol from Alana Janchevsky gives Newcastle back the ball. Chico. Headed from Flannery. Chico. Driving the ball into territory where there are no Newcastle players to run on and attack, so it's an easy collect for Courtney Newbon. Laura Pickett. Didn't see much on up the pitch, so sideways to Dapolonia. Newcastle trying to close ranks and press the ball, but Alana Murphy was able to play out of trouble. Victory switch flanks over to Alana Janchevsky on the left. Now Alex Chidiac. A little burst of acceleration loses the attention of Dundas. And now Chidiac resisted the temptation to shoot from distance and conceded ground back to Pickett. Now Gilnick on the right. Gilnick, deflected pass, gets a second chance. 1-2 with Chidiac promising, and then forced another ball that ended up being retrieved by Josie Wilson. Dundas, pass came under pressure, and Victory will win possession back. Chidiac, and through came Josie Wilson with a challenge on low that the referee had a good hard look at, but decided no foul. Ryan Campbell, you can see at the base of the screen there in his hoodie, riding every kick of the ball for Newcastle at the moment. That's not a touch that'll keep possession though. Low, and Gilnick with a cross that sits up for Flannery, and a series of deflections. Flannery has headed it at close range right into a Newcastle opponent. Here's another look at the cross from Gilnick, and Claudia Chico didn't know anything about it. Flannery heading the ball into the side of Chico's face. And it was defending that's come at some cost here for Chico, who's still a little dazed. As she gets back to her feet, you can see the captain, Cass Davis, has got over and, well, she's smiling. Chico's not, at least not yet. And the trainer hasn't been called, so Chico seems okay to continue. Just a little dazed after the ball to the side of the face at close range. The end result is a corner. Last touch was out off Chico. Here's Murphy, in-swinging corner to the near post and sliding in for two. M. Gilnick is making it look easy at the home of the Matildas. And it's already shaping as a night where she might be able to make the Golden Boot her own. 2 goals in the first 11 minutes, a near post header, and the Newcastle defence left standing. Victory firmly in control, all thanks to that woman there, Em Gielnik. Ninja A-League career goal number 66. And Newcastle may have shown a bit of hustle in response to falling behind in the first minute, but they've been undone at a set piece. Tash Prime. Lauren Allen. Dundas through the midfield. Copers Brown. Cass Davis. And then Pickett in the right spot to intercept. But Newcastle will get the ball back. Lorena Bauman. A hopeful cross. And Kayla Morrison, a bit of an up and under header. And then arriving for the volley was Chico. Here's another look at the corner kick. Well, Em Gielnik just planted her feet, stood and out, jumped Tash Pryor. And none of the late runners were really able to get a flying leap anywhere near the ball. Gielnik's height, Gielnik's ability to hold her ground. A vital difference there. And now she's up to 12 goals for the campaign. Holly McNamara on 10. Not playing this week, of course, because Melbourne City have the AFC Women's Champions League on Sunday rather than a league match. It's probably worth mentioning that in their round 20 game that got moved forward, Holly McNamara did score a hat-trick against Western United. And then Tamika Yallop on 9 from the Brisbane Roar. Brisbane away in Adelaide on Sunday. So Gielnik really has put her best foot forward in the battle to be the top scorer of the competition. Newcastle would love to halve the deficit, given that the night is young. Here's Hoban, 1 shot on target for her already. Bauman making a lung-busting underlapping run, but Hoban looks further afield. And Claudia Bunge flashes a header away. Look at the run of Chidiak, full of industry. Dundas gets back goal side. Chidiak over to Murphy. Now Flannery. Still playing as a right-footed left winger, Nikki Flannery. It's been a very different look for her to see her on that side of the pitch this season. Here's Bunge. Lots of space for Laura Pickett, the right back, getting forward. And hangs the ball high and overall and sundry. Laura Pickett playing the 14th game of what is her debut season. The 21-year-old has had to bide her time as a Victory train-on and then a squad player that wasn't able to break through for that debut last season. She's been very valuable for Victory this campaign. Newcastle have got Copus Brown, the most advanced of their attackers here, but she won't be able to run down the ball. Janchevsky leaves the ball with Flannery. And Flannery now taking on another speedster in Lauren Allen. Doubles back. Janchevsky. Chidiak. Murphy. Diagonal ball volleyed away by Bauman. Long ball from Morrison. Just drifting. Wilson wins the header. Davis.
Good. Dribble, Joe. Dribble. Dribble.
D'Apollonia makes the intercept, and now Gielnik. Could it be a 16-minute hat-trick? Em Gielnik on the tight angle again. Tried to turn provider. Chidiak was waiting in the middle. And the Newcastle defence scramble clear. Oh, one misplaced pass and Victory were off and racing there. And Newcastle have done well to keep the damage to 2-0. And the ebb and flow of the game continues as Victory slow things down at the feet of Claudia Bunge. Bunge sees Pickett over on the right. Now D'Apollonia.
Yes, led.
Well, it's one of the soundtracks of the game at the moment. Ryan Campbell. Janchevsky, hopeful cross. And Krzyzaniak reads the bounce in the end and is able to field the ball. Rolled out to Bauman. Jackson. Josie Wilson. Sees Dundas. Next pass difficult. Victory midfield closing a lot of gaps at the moment, but Newcastle have found a way through the left. And Devon Jackson breaks into space. Pickett backtracking in earnest. Jackson cuts onto her right. And then leaves the ball with Cass Davis. You see Victory have got their defence set behind the ball now. Lorena Bauman, cross onto the head of Morrison. D'Apollonia away. Only as far as Dundas. Jackson. Dundas to the edge of the box. Copus Brown. Dundas for a third time in the move. Saw a pass through the left. Bauman, and the clearance again from Victory. Well, better from Newcastle. Starting to ask a few questions of this Victory defence, but they are very organised. The Melbourne Victory. And they prevail once again, answering a little challenge from Newcastle there. They have the best defence in the league by 3 goals. Now, after Melbourne City won 4-3 against Adelaide last weekend, Victory just 17 conceded. Then City with 20. So there's a foul going Victory's way. Free kick on Flannery. Here's the build-up again. That's a really incisive pass there from Dundas, and then Bauman, a far higher degree of difficulty trying to pick out Hoban in between the two centre-backs. Yes, Victory 17 conceded, City 20 conceded, and then the Central Coast Mariners 22. So Victory's defence best in class, conceding less than a goal a game. And then they've got the leader in the golden boot, so they're getting it done at both ends of the pitch. Jackson in a battle of Kiwis here against Claudia Bunge, and Bunge watches the ball roll out. Bit of confusion here over the restart. Molly Godsell ordering a retake of the throw-in. A look from the Newcastle bench, how they're seeing things at the moment as Pickett onto the head of Gielnik, but Hoban is at the fall of the ball. Now switch out to the right, foot race is on. Allen gets there before the line. However, not in a way that advantages Newcastle. Possession given straight to Morrison. 20 minutes ticked over. Victory in a 2-0 lead thanks to a double from Emily Gielnik. The first and 11th minutes, the 2 goals. And that's allowing Victory to dictate the terms of the game from here. Newcastle coming to Melbourne already needing something special to win away to the Victory for the first time since 2017. Now in a 2-0 hole. It would be an all-timer if they find a way back from here. Gielnik has got Pickett in support. Pickett trying to bring the ball under control. Eventually does so. Gielnik is there. Dapolonia, well, watched Hoban come in and pick her pocket. And now Sophie Hoban trying to launch a counter-attack. Alana Murphy sends her sideways. And Hoban's pass is misdirected and finds Alana Janchevski. Jeff Hopkins hearing his voice, a Welsh accent that's been slowly eroded over 30 plus years of living in Australia. Ball out to the right. Dapolonia. Rachel Lowe. Chidiac in a position to dictate here. Chidiac decides to go sideways. Janchevski fancies a long shot. Oh, and it's found a way in. And Alana Janchevski is dancing, as are the Victory. Goals are coming at regular intervals. And Danielle Krasaniak made a bit of a meal of it in the Newcastle goal, it must be said. But Alana Janchevski won't care. Victory take a 3-0 lead. And Janchevski scores her 5th of the season. In space, advancing forward, decided to strike. And the bounce, well, proved just a little bit too hot to handle for the Newcastle goalkeeper. And those dance moves have been waiting for a few rounds to get shown off. Janchevski scores for the first time since January. Of course, that was the amazing free kick she scored against Sydney FC. But it is her 5th goal of the campaign, and that's pretty good for an attacking midfielder or forward that's had to spend most of it at left back. And it's also her first career goal against the Jets. So Victory 3-0 up now. And the Jets, we've seen them win 3 in a row. They were in excellent form coming into this game. They dug deep and came from behind to beat Brisbane in Brisbane last weekend. And yet here on this Friday night, they are being blown away. Barely a quarter of the way through the night's action. Can they cut the deficit by 1? Corner kick taken short. And the Victory defence repels once. And catching practice for Courtney Newbon in between the sticks. Well, what do you even do from here? What's the chat for the Newcastle players? How do they keep the heads up and keep playing with some belief out there? Melbourne Victory goals at 10-minute intervals to start the night. Brains Trust on the bench has got their heads spinning as well, no doubt. At just the potency with Victory are attacking and how dangerous they look. If the title does come down to goal difference, Melbourne City from 19 games played a +22. Melbourne Victory are now up to +18. So there is every chance that come the final round of the season. And Melbourne City do play first in the final round. They play away in Perth on Friday night. And then Melbourne Victory play Brisbane Roar at Amy Park on the Saturday. So if it's a case where the title does come down to goal difference, Melbourne Victory will bat second and thus know what they need to do. They'll just be hoping that they're in a position where they're close enough. Cass Davis clears the ball away here. Jeff Hopkins, it's hard to get a smile out of him in-game. It doesn't really matter what the score is. He's got his notepad there. He's having a chat to his assistant, Jono Clemente. There's always something to work on for this Victory team. Bunge. Pickett. Pickett's cross. Can't spot up a teammate. Pryor. Moving the ball, the issue here for Newcastle, though. So many players concertinaed into the defensive half, and Krasaniak's distribution straight onto the head of Dapolonia, and now back to Krasaniak. The Canadian goalkeeper looking for an option. Slips on the pass, and it skims off the head of Chidiac. Victory attacking down the left. Chico is able to guard Flannery, but Victory still have the throw. Bunge. Quite advanced into the attacking half. Gilnick's little flick on low, tried to stick it. Had to chase the ball out to the right. Perhaps a sign of just how dominant Victory are in the game is how confident are Pickett at right back and Janchevsky at left back now are to just get into the attacking half and stay in the attacking half, supporting Melbourne Victory every time they go forward. Will it leave a gap or two for Newcastle to try to exploit? At the moment, they've got their hands full just trying to stop goals flying in at the other end. Murphy. Low, trying to roll away from Wilson. Tangle of legs. Just an accident, or is it? Oh, the referee now blows the whistle, but blows the whistle because it's offside. Well, for a second I thought we had a very late foul call there, but I think, well, it's an accident. It's a tangle of legs, and the referee's decided that it didn't constitute a foul. Offside the call instead. Newcastle to restart. Morrison's header. Flannery and Chico resume their duel. Flannery tried to push the pass into a gap, but could only pick out Pryor.
Go back the other way, Josie. Pass you the ball. Good. Don't run up, Josie. Don't run up. Stay there, Josie. Good. Good up, Cat.
Davis.
Devon across.
Pondering the right pass, but there isn't really an avenue open at the moment. Chico is going to make it work. Out to the wing, and Hoban, a little shove in the back, and a set-piece opportunity for the Jets, wide on the right. Morrison protests to no avail. So it'll be a free kick right up against the touchline for Newcastle. Not even half an hour gone. Their only hope from here is to turn it into a shootout. We did see Melbourne Victory, of course, draw 4-4 here at the home of the Matildas against the Western Sydney Wanderers earlier in the season, and that was leading 4-2 at the 85-minute mark. So maybe Newcastle, if they can get their shooting boots on, can still launch some sort of a comeback in the game. Here comes the free kick from Davis. And Newbon, well, a finger tipper, but clasping on. There's a pack of players waiting for it to break through the hands, but not to be. Courtney Newbon holds on to the catch. Bunge. And a handball against Lowe. Here's another look at the free kick. Davis and, well, Tash Pryor was right there. If that breaks Newbon's hands, it's probably being bundled over the line by the oncoming centre-back. Chico. All over the top down the right, and a little bit too much on it for Lauren Allen to go and chase. You can see there's barely a breath of wind at the home of the Matildas tonight. Perfect conditions for football, really. Bunch's pass, a little ambitious. Murphy has to work against Hoban. Now D'Apollonia similarly under the pump, but Murphy made space and was able to play it back to Morrison. And now Janchevski, Victory's most recent goal scorer. Chidiac trying to keep the ball moving at all costs and just didn't strike the pass quite right. Alex Chidiac, just the one goal this season. Productivity surprisingly down for a player of her talent. And it did come in that 4-4 draw against the Western Sydney Wanderers back on the 5th of January. Bunge, acres of space for Lowe, but doesn't want to turn and go. Back to Bunge instead. Murphy. To Apollonia, to Chidiac. From the left flank. And a shaped header from Lowe, but not really the power to steer it on goal. It slid across the face and was retrieved by the defence instead. Here's another look. Flannery showing us the left-footed cross there, a non-preferred's foot. And Rachel Lowe leaning back, but ultimately it slid on to the boot of Lorena Baumann rather than towards the goal of Danielle Krasaniak.
Yeah, second, on the other side. Good, second, done that.
Chico intercepts the cross and keeps it away from Flannery, but has to concede a throw, and in doing so, Victory. It's been more than 10 minutes since their last goal. They're starting to turn up the heat again. They struck at regular intervals for the first 3.
Narrow first, Deb. Done that across, Devin can help there. Up! No, nothing, go up, up, up. Good.
Bunge.
There we go.
Pass intercepted. Hoban can't launch a counter-attack. D'Apollonia diffuses any danger. Newbon confidently out of the penalty area up to the edge of the defensive third. Bunge. Pass was affected right at the last, and Baumann clears away. Hoban just couldn't get to the ball before Bunge. And Bunge concedes a throw, so Newcastle have an opportunity inside the attacking half. Ryan Campbell might be sitting on the bench, but his voice still carries across the pitch on a night like tonight. Throw-in comes to little for the Jets, and Victory prevail. Flannery, Murphy. Bunge. Back to Newbon.
Go again. Good. Go. Be patient. Good. Yes, Libby. Done that step. So don't worry about it. Dundas can do that.
Morrison taking the game on, and maybe just a little too much.
Dundas step, because otherwise you're running too much.
Overhitting the pass.
Get something of that.
Emily, well done.
Oh, Steve's dropping on what the coaches are shouting. Victory are on the move. Lowe. Chidiac. D'Apollonia happy to slow things down. Bunge.
Win that one.
Incisive pass. Chidiac.
Go.
Murphy. Now Janchevski. Crowded defence. Trying to find Gilnick. Gilnick is on a hat-trick. Rounds the keeper and lobs it into a goal kick. Just didn't bend back quite enough. Janchevski set a task for Gilnick. Goalkeeper was out of the equation, but a very tight angle. And Gilnick couldn't drop it back onto the goal line with 3 Jets defenders scrambling back to cover the line. That would have been a second hat-trick of the season for Gilnick. Well, Victory might miss the home of the Matildas. They've been an excellent team here this season. And they are currently farewelling it in style. Of course, if they finish in the top 2, they will get to play one leg of the semi-finals at a home venue of their choice. If they host the grand final, you would assume it's at Amy Park. Of course, the home of the Matildas does get a lot of traffic. It is also the home of Victory's NPL men's team that is their equivalent of the men's academy, and they call this venue home. It also hosts a lot of one-off games, cup finals, matches that get rescheduled and need a venue. It's also going to be hosting the Emerging Socceroos Championships during the middle of winter as well, which is the under 15 and under 16 boys youth nationals. Pickett. Throw in coming for Victory. Newcastle seemingly having their hands full with defending at the moment. Not creating a great deal, going the other way in attack. Flick header here, low. Was in an offside position. Second time tonight that Victory have straight offside. Daniel Anderson, the assistant, over on the near side. Josie Wilson. Pryor. Davis. Chico couldn't control the ball. Janchevsky could. And Victory will repel. Flannery looking for an early ball. Gilnick, Goffin chasing. Gilnick for the first half hat-trick. And not to be. A lofted lob that didn't dip. Smile and thumbs up for the pass that came in, though, from Flannery. And it's a couple of chances on a tight angle in quick succession for Gilnick. Again, just reading the bouncing ball so much better than any of her opponents, but ultimately didn't have the finishing touch to accompany how she took the ball under control. Here's Dundas. What can Newcastle create going the other way? Perhaps a goal to give them hope. They can score before half-time. Something to take to the rooms. Here's a chance for Devon Jackson. Doesn't shoot. Defers instead. Lauren Allen keeps it moving. Copus Brown. And the end result. Well, Copus Brown's appealing for a corner, but not to be. It's a goal kick. And it just didn't sit up for Devon Jackson there to strike on goal. And instead, over to Allen, and she had her path blocked and then sliced away by Libby Copus Brown. Hasn't scored a goal this season, Copus Brown. It's been a year since she last found the back of the net. Here's a chance now for the Jets, though. Dundas, edge of the box. Knocks the ball back to Jackson. And again, Jackson unable to free the feet for a shot. Dundas, a tumbling ball in, cleared by Bunge. It's the third time lucky. Emma Dundas drives the ball across the top of the area. And Melbourne Victory, with Dapolonia getting a touch away. He's done well, the American, to shrug off Lorena Baumann. Baumann back in. Winning the ball. Fans didn't like it, but play continues. Hoban. Lauren Allen. And the cross sails out harmlessly in the end. Well, here's another look. The home fans didn't appreciate how Lorena Baumann went in for the ball, but the referee didn't see a foul. Right here. That's great camera angle showing us how it unfolded. Newcastle, again, springing back to life. More physicality. Davis rolls away. Copus Brown. Still Copus Brown. Dundas. From wide on the left. Turning back onto her right. Here's Devon Jackson, and, well, the pass straight to Laura Pickett. Here's Chico. Oh, catches a big deflection off Alana Murphy and goes out for a corner kick. Gilnick and the referee both checking in, as is Chico on Alana Murphy there. Chico, who was dazed herself by a ball into the side of the face earlier in the half, and Murphy took the brunt of that drive at close range, and it looks as though Victory are going to send a medic out to assess Alana Murphy here before this corner is taken. It's the Victory doctor who's going out now to speak to the 19-year-old Murphy. He's been ever present this season. 17 games for the Victory. She seems to be reasonably comfortable engaging in this chat with the doctor. Now the trainer, Jeff Hopkins, will be, of course, hoping he doesn't lose one of the key pieces of his midfield. And now it's going to be a formal concussion test, seemingly. Here's another look. Chico's drive right into the side of the head of Murphy. That's what left her rattled. It doesn't matter whether it's playing a pass or taking a shot or doing a concussion test. Alana Murphy has that laconic style. Alex Chidiac is having a bit of fun with it. Hopefully that's an indicator that she's all right to continue in the game. Bottom line is Victory are going to have to defend this corner one player short, regardless of how long Murphy has to stay on the sidelines from here. So 11 versus 10. Is this Newcastle's window of opportunity to grab a goal back? Davis has been on corner taking duty all through the first half. It's a tumbler into the near post and cleared straight back away. And the header's in. Newcastle do get a goal back. Lauren Allen with goals in consecutive games and a ray of hope for the Jets. There won't be a 10th clean sheet of the season for Courtney Newbon. And Cass Davis with a second-time ball. Lauren Allen, not the tallest player, but had position in front of Kayla Morrison. And she did say in the post-match interview last week that she wasn't happy with her goal-scoring tally for the season and wanted more. Well, there's another. And the Jets will be hoping that there might be more in the second half. 21st career goal for Lauren Allen in game number 94, and it's her 4th of the season. And Newcastle do get a bit of reward for not throwing in the towel at 3-0 down. Could be a very interesting couple of minutes plus stoppage time to win the first half here, because the Jets now, they are a momentum team. And even though they've hit some pretty deep lows in this first half, they've got a spring in their step here. Allen, fresh off scoring, trying to turn provider. Jackson's there. Header couldn't quite shape towards goal. Davis causing carnage, and the ball is cleared away. Composure, shouts Jeff Hopkins from the bench. That is the key word for Victory here. Here's another look at Cass Davis. Was just a bit of a wrecking ball and couldn't actually make a play on the ball itself. Into the last minute of the first 45. And a ricochet here. Would you believe it? Sophie Hoban has scored off a ricochet and Newcastle are back in town. They've struck twice at the end of the first half, and that is the sort of freakish occurrence that might just lead to this game turning on its head. Hoban celebrates scoring off her shin. It's her 3rd goal of the season, and as the game ticks into stoppage time of the first half, it's 3-2. And if anyone in your group chat gave up at this one on 3-0 down, send them a message and tell them that it's game right back on. 3-2 the score. We've ticked into 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Newcastle, a momentum team. Melbourne Victory now. Something to ponder. A game that's back in the balance. Free kick here. Sophie Hoban, 4th career goal in her 2nd season in the Ninja A-League. Tumbling free kick to the edge of the box. Jackson. It's probably worth bearing mention. A team has never come from 3 goals down, 3-0, 4-1, 5-2, any 3-goal margin. A team has never come from 3 goals down to win in the history of the Ninja A League or the old W League. And there's only been 2 instances of a team coming from 3 goals down to draw. And yet, the Newcastle Jets, they are in range for a one-off piece of history if they do come from behind to win tonight. But there's a long way to go, and there's still the attack of Melbourne Victory that they've got to contend with. Janchevsky, Flannery. Underlapping run from Dapolonia, cuts it back. Flannery, the ball doesn't sit up. Oh, and she's crashed through Davis. The referee's put the whistle away. Play continues. Murphy, looking all right, having passed the concussion test. Into the final minute of what has been a wild roller coaster of a first half. Lowe, back to goal, looking for a teammate, Chidiac. Flannery calling for the ball on the wing. Flannery, half volleyed away by Pryor. Lauren Allen. Allen lifting the ball out to the right flank. Copus Brown watches Morrison as Morrison watches it over the line. Assistant referee Lauren Hargrave, indeed, raising the flag Victory's way. And that might just take Victory to the break. Jeff Hopkins, well, he's a learned man. Maybe there's a reason there wasn't a smile on his face at 3-0 up. He's seen it all before. And you can just imagine what the tone of the halftime team talks are going to be like. There's probably going to be more optimism in the rooms of the team that are trailing rather than the ones leading. The halftime whistle goes. What a half it's been so far. Victory scored in the first minute and raced to a 3-0 lead. An M. Gilnick double followed by Alana Janchevsky's long-range strike. Only for Newcastle to score twice in quick succession at the end of the first half. And that sets up our halftime score. The Jets, their outside run at finals, alive for now. Victory, plenty to ponder. Because it's Melbourne Victory 3, Newcastle Jets 2. Can't wait to get back underway. Second half of this Ninja A-League clash. 3-2 the halftime score. That only begins to tell the story. Melbourne Victory raced out to a 3-0 lead by the 22-minute mark. And Newcastle, with 2 late goals at the end of the first half, could just be on track to become the first team in Ninja A-League and the old W League's history to win a game from a 3-0 deficit. It has never been done before. The team's only ever come from 3 goals down to draw on 2 occasions. Melbourne Victory to take kick-off to start the second half. They'll be attacking the left of your screens. It appears as though neither team has turned to the bench during the halftime break. And so what does the second half have in store for us? It's a chilly night at the home of the Matildas, a stark contrast to some of the hotter days and more humid conditions that teams have experienced. And the second half is underway. Victory still in the ascendancy. And as things stand, still closing the gap to Melbourne City at the top of the Ninja A-League. But Newcastle went into the halftime rooms with momentum right behind them. What comes next? Time to find out. Courtney Newbon playing the pass over to Kayla Morrison. The American defender Morrison launching into the attacking half. Finds Alana Janchevsky. Janchevsky lifting it across. Krasaniak is able to catch. Jets goalkeeper rolling it out. Tempo is going to be high, and it's going to be a pretty fearsome game in these first 5 minutes straight back out of the rooms. Lorena Baumann. Sophie Hoban, the scorer of the most recent goal. Ball is cleared away by Kayla Morrison. Baumann. Davis skipping on for Hoban. Sophie Hoban drifts to the edge of the box and shoots straight at Courtney Newbon. Well, had potentially the goal at her mercy there, Hoban, from right at the top of the area. Scored in the first half off a ricochet. Of course, that far more deliberate attack, but ultimately picking out the Victory goalkeeper. See there, 14 total shots, 5 goals in the back of the net. Janchevsky. Ball bounces over the head of Rachel Lowe. Josie Wilson. And loses out to Rachel Lowe. Lowe waiting for Flannery and now breaks wide, and that engaged Claudia Chico, who's able to clear the ball. Kayla Morrison. Drifting crossfield pass. Gilnick. 2 goals in the first half on a hat-trick. Leaves the cross to Pickett. Pickett, will she play it? Yes, she will. Lifting the ball in. Chico wins the header. And Allen's volley across the face of goal. By no means out of danger. D'Apollonia. And now Gilnick. And Gilnick drifts it out for a goal kick. Krasaniak on the last line of defence. A short goal kick, inviting Victory to press. Can the Jets play through it? Copus Brown. Where's the outlet pass? Devon Jackson was the answer. Grab of the shirt. And the 2 Kiwis clash. First yellow card of the night goes to Claudia Bunge for the deliberate foul there on Devon Jackson. And Bunge, no protests. She knows exactly what she did, grabbing the shirt of Jackson in that fashion. So the Victory centre-back will be on a yellow card for the remainder of the night. Newcastle have a long-range free kick some distance from the penalty area. Lorena Baumann drifts the free kick to just inside the box. Bunge won the initial header away from Pryor. Dundas. Back out to Baumann from a standing start. Soaring header from Morrison coming over the top. And Flannery trying to knock it onto her own advantage. Couldn't quite escape. Davis. And then a touch from Janchevsky finds the safety of the line. Ryan Campbell, the Jets coach, never stopped the chatter, even at 3-0 down in that first half. And now 4 minutes into the second half, it's the Jets looking to build. Chico down to the corner. Knocked back to Lauren Allen. And a bit of spin on the ball as it bounced in the box, but nothing too uncomfortable for Courtney Newbon. The rollout here is going to sit up for Bauman, but Pickett is able to retrieve the ball. Bunge. Gilnick. Laura Pickett. Goes back to Claudia Bunge. Cut into the midfield. Murphy. And then back out to the right flank. It's going to bounce kindly for Gilnick. Gilnick tries to move it on at all costs and ultimately delivers the ball back to the Jets keeper in the form of a goal kick. Newcastle again with the short goal kick, but this time it's second ball straight out of the box, and now coming back with a bit of interest, but high and over. Laura Pickett yet to open her Ninja A-League account in game 14. Lots of shouting, lots of instruction coming from both sidelines. Jeff Hopkins and Ryan Campbell. Krasaniak goes for distance with the goal kick here. Devon Jackson, who was the attention of that shouting, appears to have won the ball initially, but can't retain possession under the challenge of Dapolonia. Now Murphy. And the ball is brought down by Lorena Bauman. A quick 1-2. Bauman. Incisive pass into midfield. Sophie Hoban sees the advance of Chico through the right. Claudia Chico, first time ball. Bends across the top of the penalty area and cleared away by Murphy. That was characteristic of victory for a lot of the first half, that their right and left back, Pickett on the right, Janchevsky on the left, they would get forward so often into the attacking half to support the attack. Newcastle are trying to answer in kind here and pin Victory's defenders further back in the field. However, that won't do the job. Sophie Hoban a little overzealous as she challenged Janchevsky on that occasion. Here's how Janchevsky was defending. Hoban, 23 years old, so broke through as a 22-year-old last season into the Ninja A-League, but has been ever present. It's her 42nd appearance tonight. So as soon as she made the grade for the Ninja A-League, she's pretty much established herself as a regular straight away. Newbon, got to be careful here. The Jets are advancing numbers to the penalty area. Murphy, full of confidence. Bunge, back to Newbon. Now Newbon had the outlet pass. Pickett made space and can advance the ball. Jets committed a few to the press here, so could be gaps to exploit. Dapolonia through the right. Gilnick sprinting down to the byline. And, well, does keep it in. It just kept twisting along the paint of the line, and so the Jets have to play a live ball and clear. Who will be first to act with substitutions? Neither team has turned to the bench, but you suspect that Newcastle will want to keep the tempo high. Melbourne Victory will want to manage the game from here. They will have in the back of their mind the 4-4 draw against Wanderers right here at the home of the Matildas earlier in the season. They coughed up 2 late goals at the end of the game in a very similar fashion to what happened to them at the end of the first half. Chico with the clearance there. It's her 50th game tonight, Claudia Chico. 37 games for the Jets, 13 for the Wellington Phoenix. Yeah, an Australian, a Sydney sider who went over the ditch to start her Ninja A-League career. Long pass here, and even though Dapolonia has great endurance, she won't be able to chase that one down. Gets the power of work, the American Dapolonia. Also in her second season in the Ninja A-League. Game number 40 for her tonight. So things have calmed down just a little after the burst of speed out of the rooms at half-time, but Newcastle remain within touching distance. Chidiac legged and a free kick. Emma Dundas leaves the scene. Well, some of the Victory fans have got their opinions on the foul. Here's another look. Only 8 total free kicks in the game, so it's been pretty well behaved by both teams. Free kick headed away by Pryor. Copus Brown sets Jackson a task. Jackson kicks the ball out into open space and is going to back her speed. Runs it down. And now back inside for Davis. Davis's diagonal ball. Copus Brown. Here's Hoban. Hoban not able to get the better of Flannery. Chidiac. Dapolonia. Options wide for the Victory. Gilnick is going to jag in from the right flank. Tries to slide it on for Rachel Lowe, but Krasaniak is out to the ball. Krasaniak goes for distance. The Jets have mixed it up. They've had the short goal kicks, and they've had the long punts up the field in the 10 minutes of this second half so far. Sophie Hoban's got to be careful. Persistent fouling can get you booked in this league, and she's given away a couple of free kicks, and I imagine that's what Molly Godsell is saying right here. I'm noticing that you're starting to commit fouls with regularity. Victory into the box. Dapolonia keeps the ball, fashions across. Flannery, and the ball goes high and wide. Well, it's sat up kindly for Nikki Flannery. Hasn't scored a goal at home this season. Away in Canberra and away to Wellington, but hasn't had a goal for the home fans this campaign. That's as good a chance as any. Bit of carnage here from the resulting goal kick. And now Rachel Lowe, who has had the goal-scoring touch against Newcastle historically, it abandoned her there, and that's a massive let-off for the Jets. I mentioned that they'd mixed up the short goal kicks, the long clearances. Well, that was a short one, and it was nearly returned into the net in the space of 2 passes. Krasaniak here, you would forgive her for going for distance just to vacate the area. That's exactly what she does. Murphy. Chico. Janchevsky watches the ball roll out. Here's another look. It was Gielnik who intercepted the goal kick, played it to Lowe, and then Lowe on the spin skied the chance. 5 career goals against the Jets. Rachel Lowe, that would have been number 6. It's already her most prolific team scoring against in this competition. Decision time at the other end for the opposing keeper, Courtney Newbot. Finds Gielnik. Pickett. Dapolonia. And now Pickett. Well, challenge coming in from Bauman. And the throw-in goes Newcastle's way. And now the whistle goes. Well, confusion reigns. It's going to be Newcastle's ball. Gielnik's protesting. I think Victory believed it was a foul throw, and then it was a moot point because they'd won the ball anyway and were seemingly breaking into attack. There are the Victory subs warming up. That's the Victory goalkeeping coach, Melissa Maisels, having her say to the 4th official. What's the end result here? It's going to be a Victory throw. So I think after everyone's had their 2 cents, it was a foul throw by the Jets. Victory now take the throw in. Flick header on by Gielnik. And Wilson concedes a corner. So Melbourne Victory with their tall targets to aim for. Emily Gielnik having scored 1 headed goal from a corner already. As the Victory subs continue to warm up in earnest. So Gielnik's the obvious danger. Kayla Morrison has 12 goals from centre back in this competition. Claudia Bunge will be an aerial presence as well. massive moment here for Victory. Can they establish a 2-goal buffer in the game once again? Janchevski looping in, swinging corner, and it's just wide. Somehow the combination of Morrison and Bunge unable to will it over the goal line, and instead wide of the left-hand post. And it's another let-off for the Jets. Morrison got first header, and there were just enough bodies in the way. And in spite of all those bodies in the way, none of them actually touched the ball on its way out for a goal kick. Chico deflects the ball into midfield. Murphy brings the ball under her control. Great sidestep too. Silky smooth from Murphy. And the ball out to the right here. Gilnick looking to build ahead of steam. The burst of acceleration comes. And the ball lands on the roof of the net, but not without a deflection first. It's another corner kick coming up for Victory. Here's another look at the deflection off Lorena Baumann. And that's what looped it onto the roof of the net. So, same scenario as barely a minute ago. So many spot fires to put out. The only difference is now it's Alex Chidiac taking the corner, whipping it in and clearing everyone in the box. So a let-off for the Jets' defence as we pass the hour mark. No change to the halftime score. Victory in the lead 3-2. And it is normally around this time that teams turn to the bench. Krasaniak to the halfway line. Copus Brown can't find a teammate. Dapolonia has been excellent in the first 15 minutes of this second half. It's been everywhere Victory has needed her in midfield so far. Bunge. Pickett. Chidiac. Gilnick. Left the ball for Murphy, and Murphy delivers out to Flannery. Flannery's cross. Gilnick unmarked, and it wouldn't have counted had the ball hit the net due to offside. Lauren Hargrave raising the flag over on the outer side on the Victory striker. Flannery's cross, and well, Lorena Baumann was the only Jets defender appealing for offside, but she had it spot on. Janchevski's header. Newcastle haven't had an attacking foray for a while here. The Victory defence has switched back on. The Jets have got to try something new. Lauren Allen might be the tonic. Can't find a way past Morrison. Chidiac. Barged over, advantage given. Chico, the offending player, but Victory have got a live ball in the meantime. Lowe, into the box she rolls. Rachel Lowe twists out to the left and blocked away. Janchevski. And booted to the safety of touch by Chico. Here's another look at the foul on Chidiac. And it's a foul that's now drawn a yellow card out of the pocket of Molly Godsell. So Claudia Chico joins Claudia Bunge in the referee's book. Chidiac does draw a lot of fouls and a lot of attention in this competition. Victory and their coach Jeff Hopkins have been very outspoken about wanting to protect her specifically and playmakers generally. Here's Bunge. Headed away by Chico. Janchevski. Lowe trying to protect the drop of the ball. Davis. Copus Brown. Trying to find a teammate. Flashes off the head of Bunge. Tumbling on. Hoban brings the ball under control. Lauren Allen advancing. Devon Jackson waiting in the box. Allen's cross tipped away by Newbon. Jackson recycles the ball. Davis caught by Gilnick. And that's defending from the front there from Gilnick, but the Jets do retain possession. Diagonal ball. Morrison heads away. Dapolonia on for Chidiac. The game being stretched. Chidiac being pursued, but able to send the ball out to Gilnick on the right. Low in the middle. Gilnick's cross. Knocked away by Pryor. It's an open game now. And there's going to be gaps to exploit. Are the Jets able to go quick enough, though? Victory starting to get numbers back in midfield. Their defence is set and everything will now slow down. Oh, what a phase. The game slinging end to end. And the whistle comes to Newcastle's aid here as Hoban is knocked over by Murphy. So that was Gielnik defending from the front, coming back to catch. Cass Davis in possession, preventing a second time ball into the box. Long ball. Claudia Bunch. All the way back to Newbon. 20 minutes of the second half now ticked over. Morrison going for distance. And the runners break. Flannery sprinting towards the line. Chico right there with her, and the ball plants in the turf. Chico driving clear. Morrison lunges into a header. Dundas. Brought down by Copus Brown. Lauren Allen. Still Allen. Oh, crossed it straight to Pickett. Knocked away. And victory clear. Well, there was only one victory player really in the box, and Lauren Allen's cross picked her out, but the Jets will get another chance here. Josie Wilson. Bunge. The ball breaks sideways, but Morrison first to react.
Good done, Lozzie. Now you go, Chico. Now you go. Good. Now you go, Chico. Good. 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 Start to step, so. Start to step. Good. Good. Good lift. Higher. Good. Excellent, so. Yes, so. Go on, Dad. Good.
And a misplaced pass here gives Newcastle back the ball.
Well done, girls.
Fans on the outer watching over the fence as Lorena Baumann, the former Swiss international, takes the throw in for Newcastle. And after plenty of pondering, it's Dundas. Now pass to Pryor, switch of flanks. Over to Chico. Allen. Next pass all important. Flannery guarding Allen. Chico. Copus Brown. Lauren Allen again. The back heel. And showed a bit too much of the ball to Kayla Morrison. Dundas.
Good, good. Well done, Lorena. Go, Chico.
And the pass from Baumann only succeeds in picking out Janchevsky. Can victory turn and go? Low. Gielnik. Didn't quite hit the ball in stride. Was just a little off balance. Now Chidiac. Dundas having a nibble at Chidiac. In the meantime, Low. Jackson. And the block tackle. Physical challenge in the air there Hoban in on Bunge. Newcastle still have the ball.
Yes, Lim. Yes, go.
Wall pass here. Davis got the hurry up though from the backtracking Chidiac. Now Dundas.
Good. Calm. Go now, Chico. Good going. Look, one. Go on, go. Good, Chico.
Lauren Allen. Allen, after biding her time, spotted a gap. Copus Brown. Oh, a slip from Morrison. Copus Brown not able to finish and couldn't find a deflection. Just a goal kick. Well, windows of opportunity opening for the Jets. We have seen players lose their footing occasionally tonight. And, well, Kayla Morrison there stepped over the ball and then went to ground, but hard to do much from that tight of an angle, especially with Claudia Bunge still on the scene. So 20 minutes of regulation to go. A rarity that neither team has turned to the bench. Jets have won possession back here. Hoban, Devon Jackson has Pickett to deal with. Victory have got a player down in the foreground. A slip from Bauman. Oh, series of deflections though. Bauman was on the ground and effectively played a pass to Dundas. And now Lauren Allen. Allen, Dundas, and the shot over the bar. And again, Jets on the build. They're on top in general play now. They've had to bide their time in the second half to find a way to get back on top. Alana Murphy is sore. We saw her have a concussion test in the first half. This is a different matter. It's that lunge and foot on foot with Lauren Allen. And exactly what part of the foot we might find out here. Is it the ankle? Is it the foot itself? The physio's out. And treatment continues. Here's a look at the shot from Dundas. Scored from outside the box against the Brisbane Roar last week on her left foot. That was her right. And the shot just kept rising. So both teams will take a breather here. It's going to be a massive last 20 minutes. There's implications all up and down the league. Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory going for the title. Adelaide United still harbouring ambitions of finishing in the top two. And then everyone above Newcastle, Wellington, Canberra, the Mariners, Brisbane Roar, all looking over their shoulder, hoping that Melbourne Victory can do them a favour here and close this one out. Murphy, again, just seemingly brushing off whatever the game throws at her. And it looks as though word has come from the bench. Holly Furphy has been a super sub ever since signing for the Victory after coming over from college.
Yep, right now.
The Melbourne girl back in her hometown has 3 goals in 6 appearances. And it looks as though Murphy's number is up. So at last a substitution, but it's a forced one. And watch this space for Alana Murphy, and she's replaced by Holly Furphy. And so on comes Furphy. Goals against Sydney Western United and Canberra. And if she can find the back of the net here, it might just be enough to make the 3 points safe for Victory tonight. Newcastle, though, they're making their move. A couple of good chances in quick succession. Will that break in play for the treatment of Murphy change the dynamic? Bunge. Lowe. Allen loses out. Rachel Lowe continues. Flannery. First time ball and can't find Gielnik. Just a metre or so beyond Gielnik's run. Promising build-up from Victory, though. As Rachel Lowe's persistence in midfield to win the ball in that 50-50 against Lauren Allen. Hoban, shoulder to shoulder. Dapolonia. Davis. Oh, another Victory player down. Play continues. Devon Jackson. And the ball taken away by Bunge. And Bunge is going to run it out of play because there's another Victory player down. Murphy leaving the pitch just a moment ago, and it's another foot problem or ankle problem. And this is a bit more serious this time. It's M. Gilnick. Here's the challenge on Davis, and, well, it was almost Gilnick's misadventure into the back of one of the feet of Cass Davis that has left her down here. So, more work for the physio. And replacing Gilnick with Holly Furphy having just come off the bench might be a more difficult decision here. They've got young striker Ella O'Grady among the subs, also an attacking midfielder Sophia Sakalis to the Victory. And now we've got a Newcastle player down, so it's going to be quite an extended delay here. It's Tash Pryor who has got an issue too, and with Matilda's selection not too far away, that is a worry. There's Ella O'Grady, and perhaps she's got the call that she'll be coming on for M. Gilnick here. So there's going to be a lot of stoppage because we've had Murphy treated, Gilnick treated, now Pryor. It's not completely apparent where Pryor's picked up this knock either. Gilnick's back on her feet, so maybe Ella O'Grady's coming on for someone else. You would think that Victory would not want her to leave the game just yet. Here are the goals so far. This is M. Gilnick going to the top of the Golden Boot. Started the night on 10 in a tie with Holly McNamara. That was the first. Goal number 11 coming in the very first minute of the game. And this was the second. It was in the 12th minute. And that made it 2-0 at the time. Gilnick's 12th of the campaign, and that's how the Golden Boot race sits at the moment. Gilnick on 12, Holly McNamara on 10, Tamika Yallop on 9. Goal number 66 of M. Gilnick's Ninja A-League career. She's back on her feet, and the ball's going over her head here. Pryor's okay as well, so both teams 11 versus 11. But the Jets are trying to attack through the left. Devon Jackson dropping the shoulder against Pickett, now twisting back. The pass inside, sits up kindly for Victory to clear. Furphy knocking it out towards Chidiac, hard against the line.
Go. Go.
Pickett slowing things down. And the game has really lost all its tempo now due to the injury breaks, so expect a chunk of stoppage, and who will take the initiative from here? Morrison. Chidiac. Knocked over by Copus Brown. It's another foul drawn by Alex Chidiac. Here's another look. Copus Brown trying to find a way to affect play, but not really close to the ball. Side challenge deflects the ball down the line. Bunge. Bending back into the field of play. Furphy trying to protect the drop. Promising first touch, but not able to keep it glued to her feet. And here's Pryor, looking all right after receiving treatment of her own a moment ago. Lauren Allen scored Newcastle's first of the night. And the push here means a free kick going the way of Libby Copus-Brown. Combination of Kayla Morris and then Alani Anchevsky trying to take evasive action. Bunge wins the initial header. It's going to slide on for Pickett.
Go, Steve. Dev, higher. Dev, higher. Good, go, Dev. Go, Dundas.
Pickett.
Good.
Long ball. Furphy trying to stretch the defence here. Across comes Pryor. Well-timed slide. And, well, Furphy back in. Winning possession for victory. D'Apollonia. 10 minutes of regulation to go. Still no change to the halftime score. Not for a lack of trying from both teams. Victory have had some gilt-edged misses in this second half. And Newcastle, well, they were starting to generate some chances, but the 3 breaks for injury have seen Victory reassert themselves on the game. D'Apollonia. Furphy turning at the edge of the box. It's Holly Furphy across to Alani Anchevsky. Well, a goal in the first half, but can't match the effort here in the second. Solid header by Flannery. Well, the ball's hit the referee, and that'll be a drop ball, and I suspect a Victory drop ball. There's Sheridan Gallagher, back from suspension this week after accumulating 8 yellow cards. Meant she missed the trip to Brisbane last weekend, and that was after she scored the one and only goal in Newcastle's win against Sydney FC the game before. So she's coming in theory, in good form, even though she missed last weekend. Who she's coming on for remains a mystery because the ball is at Victory feet for now. Chidiak. Yanchevsky, Chico. Yanchevsky in and fouling Chico. Just a talking to from the referee. Yanchevsky leaves the scene. It's a good duel. And ultimately, Yanchevsky late on the scene. So Gallagher on as Newcastle chase this game.
Get around this one. Go, Dev. Good seconds. Middle side, middle.
And it's Libby Copus-Brown, the player who's been subbed out. So a very different sort of striker. Copus-Brown, a midfielder recast to lead the attack at times tonight. Now Gallagher, a more traditional centre forward. Dundas, promising touch. And now the pass, looping towards Gallagher. First touch of the ball. Chico just boots the ball away to safety. And that's another look at just the physicality of that Yanchevsky challenge. We saw Chico receive a knock to the face in the first half, but she's all smiles now. Not the case for Jeff Hopkins. Janchevski, Furphy. Holly Furphy running out to the left flank, and again it's Chico in the wars. This time the ball finds its way out. Referee Molly Godsell going over to talk to Claudia Chico. Holly Furphy, the initial run was good, but Chico got her body in the road and was ultimately dragged to ground for her trouble, but the end result, a goal kick. Pryor, Dundas. And the pass succeeds in picking out Laura Pickett, but the Jets will get it back with another opportunity, and Dundas here trying to take possession, and eventually does. Emma Dundas. Well, took on one player too many perhaps. Janchevski spun on the ball. Rachel Lowe able to burst out of traffic. Taking on Chico, and Chico's spilled possession to the advantage of Wilson into the last 5 minutes of regulation. Newcastle still chasing the game. Hoban. Lorena Bauman. Well, caught in possession by Rachel Lowe. And Bauman sprinting back, trying to make amends. Wilson. And the whistle goes. Holly Furphy protests her innocence, but both the central referee and the assistant saw something they didn't like. That little bit of contact there, and the assistant referee was flagging right as the central referee was whistling. So from both angles, foul given. Victory's centre backs still standing tall though. Hoban. Wilson. Newcastle being held up here. Victory have got passing channels blocked. Newcastle struggling to advance the ball. Maybe Pryor will have more joy. A bit of space to exploit. And then again the pass into traffic, but it's going to deflect kindly. Lauren Allen. It's got Chico White on the right, but Allen wants to drive it into the box. Leaning into the head of Pickett. Dundas can't control the ball. Flannery. Newcastle chasing, and the ball is going to drift over towards the touchline. Gielnik sweeps onto it.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Go!
Newbon.
Good here. Good
Morrison.
Good. Good.
Kayla Morrison, a bending pass. Furphy can chase. Krasaniak's got to roam out of the penalty area here. And Krasaniak, a less than convincing pass. Header from Lowe. And then a clearance from Wilson. Oh, it almost got hairy very quickly there for Newcastle, but they had just enough defenders back to help out Danielle Krasaniak. The clock is starting to become Victory's friend, even with this slender 1-goal lead. 2 minutes of regulation to go. Jeff Hopkins' turn to shout from the sidelines. Bauman. Morrison. Back to Claudia Bunge. Bunge with a bit of time, a bit of space. Victory. We've seen them manage games to the finish line in equal measure with coughing up late goals. When they get it right, they really do get it right. On this occasion, though, Dapolonia concedes a foul. And there's going to be a substitution, so Newcastle will continue chasing the game. Claire Adams comes on for Emma Dundas, and it was Adams who scored Newcastle's late equaliser in their 3-all draw with Adelaide United. So they'll be hoping for something similar here. It's Adams' one and only goal of the season in her first Ninja A-League campaign. So can she double up? Gallagher with a flick header on. And Janchevsky is first to the ball, clearing away. Fourth official about to reveal how many more minutes Victory have to hold on, and Newcastle have to stay in pursuit of this game. It's kept us on edge for most of the second half, even though there hasn't been any change to the score. Chico going for a long ball over the head of Gallagher. It's going to run on here for Adams, and she had the chance to be the super sub and just couldn't read the bounce of the ball. A rueful shake of the head, and the ball has gone out for a corner, so Newcastle have a consolation as we go into 5 additional minutes. But it could have been so much more there for Claire Adams. She will take the corner. Adams into the near post, booted away. Emphatic clearance by Rachel Lowe. Hoban. Chico. Jackson brings the ball down. Hoban, a drifting pass. Gallagher was there, but it was a 2-on-1. Gallagher stuck between Bunge and Pickett. And Courtney Newbon holds on to the ball. Victory going to try and lock it down from here. Newbon's clearance. Low. Hoban. Sophie Hoban weaving into the attack. It's Hoban, plays the pass. Gallagher! Jets level! Sheridan Gallagher makes it 3-3. And Melbourne Victory from 3-0 up have coughed it up. Sophie Hoban made it happen. A driving run through midfield, a beautifully measured ball, and the deft first touch from Gallagher, followed by a beautiful finish. A really good Newcastle goal. And now there is still time to throw everything at potentially winning it. It is, if this scoreline holds, only the third time in the league's history that a team has come from 3 goals down to get a draw. A team has never in the league's history come from 3 goals down to win. And it's Sheridan Gallagher's 6th goal of the Ninja A-League season in 14 games. First time she's ever scored against the Victory. And Melbourne Victory, do they shift their mindset? They were in clampdown mode, holding on to a 3-2 lead. Now do they have a switch of gears to go and try and score again themselves? D'Apollonia. Janchevsky. A sweeping cross. And no real presence for Victory inside the box. Cleared away. Janchevsky combining with Flannery. Tries to get a yard on Chico, but in doing so, ran out of space against the line. Well, you almost wish there was more than 5 minutes of additional time now, because we've only got 2 minutes left for these teams to sort it out. Will we get a winner here? Up goes the ball. Adams touch. Hoban only succeeded in picking out Morrison. Chico. Courtney Newbon will go and field the ball. High ball, Chico, Gielnik, still on a hat-trick, Gielnik. What a way that would have been to win it. But it's a tall goalkeeper back on the line, and Daniel Krasaniak bats it down. 90 seconds of play left in the allocated 5 minutes. M. Gielnik decided why not. Would have been the ultimate way to win it. Pickett. Furphy. Still Holly Furphy. to the head of Davis. Hoban, Furphy, another look here. Oh, drove it into her own teammate, Rachel Lowe, blocking the shot into the last minute of the allocated 5. And there's no one forward for the Jets. Well, a draw doesn't help their finals push a great deal. They'll be relying on favourable results further up the table. They would go to 21. Mariners on 25 in 6th place. Game to come tomorrow. And that will run on to Krasaniak here. 30 seconds to go. Krasaniak boots it high. Chidiac. Maybe it's Victory who can win it. Flannery. Chico charges in. And the referee says corner. And so as stoppage time expires, Victory will have to hurry. Stoppage time is up, but the referee will let them take the corner. There might only be one possible winner from here then. Alana Janchevsky with a vital corner kick. Melbourne City and Adelaide United sweating watching this. Will Victory drop points or can they win it right at the last? Janchevsky's corner. An out swinger, a header from Gielnik. And it did catch a deflection. And we're going beyond the allocated 5 because it's going to be repeat corners. Surely the last chance here now for Victory. Janchevsky measures out the run-up once again. Newcastle player down, the header into the mixer. Morrison scores! Kayla Morrison in the 96th minute. And Victory are going to win it in the most dramatic of circumstances. Well, Sophie Hoban was wiped out in the build-up. Newcastle were appealing for a foul, but the goal has stood. Janchevsky's corner. Hoban's already down at that point. Bunge's header, and the centre-back link-up works to perfection. Morrison was unmarked, perhaps as a result of the fallen Jets player. And Kayla Morrison, the captain, stepping up with yet another goal. Hoban is still down. The game is still not over. We've gone well beyond the allocated 5 additional minutes. Lauren Hargrave, the assistant referee, is talking to Molly Godsell, the central. There is no VAR in the Ninja A-League. It's only these 2 referees that can have the final say. If it stands, it's Morrison's 4th of the season and 13th career. If it stands, it's Melbourne Victory within 2 points of City at the top of the league and breaking 5 clear of Adelaide in 3rd. Everything is in stasis. No decision on the goal. Now we have a decision on the goal. Sophie Hoban is back up, so thankfully she's okay, but it is going to be a bitter pill to swallow for the Jets. Will there even be any more play after kickoff here? The goal coming in the 96th minute. There's been a card handed out as well, perhaps a bit too much vociferous protesting. The Jets are going to be in disbelief here. All that hard work to come back from 3-0 down. Here's kickoff, and there's the full-time whistle. The late show from Victory. They blew a 3-0 lead, only to go and win it all over again. It's a season-defining win, and it's an undefeated streak that equals the club's record at 9 games. Newcastle are incredulous, and perhaps rightly so. The captain, Cass Davis, leads the protests. But winners are grinners, and Victory have won it in the 96th minute, thanks to Kayla Morrison. It's the chaos you've come to love in the Ninja A-League, and it finishes Melbourne Victory 4, Newcastle Jets 3.